What's up everyone? I'm Lyrae, composer and game designer for Camille's Coffee. Welcome to my first vlog for I'm Awake Studio. Today I'm going to be talking about the games that have inspired us throughout the development of our game. As you may know, Camille's Coffee is an action-adventure metroidvania, and for it to become the concept that it is today, we as game developers have been trying to learn what makes these games great in order to implement it and bring you a great gaming experience. So, in this video, I'll be listing our top 5 game influences. Before we begin, don't forget to visit our Ko-fi and other social media profiles to learn more about our game Camille's Coffee. We're posting updates every week, and we'll greatly appreciate it if you check it out and let us know your thoughts on our process so far. Without further ado, here's number 5. Super Metroid. This is, of course, half of the reason why Metroidvanias exist, so it's impossible not to mention it. I'm a huge fan of non-linear adventures and getting lost in the map. Flashbacks to Meridia. When I became the game designer, I was completely overwhelmed on how to even begin to design such a complex Metroidvania map for Camille's Coffee. But then I started diving into Super Metroid, and the grid-like form of the map helped clear my head so I could start blocking in the map in Unity. Playing Super Metroid, I understood that having a wide variety of enemies helps to keep the game interesting. They are also a powerful resource to educate the player about their attack patterns and start measuring how much damage they can provoke. They also prepare you to identify potential stronger enemies in later areas. Long story short, in Super Metroid you'll find all the basic elements that later Metroidvanias implemented in their own gameplay, and Camille's Coffee will be no exception. You'll be able to find NPCs, fight secret bosses for new upgrades, discover secret areas, and get to know the history and culture of the Coffeezens living in the Coffee Kingdom. Number 4. Blinx the Time Sweeper. Let me tell you one thing, if you love this game as much as I do, you can already consider me a friend of yours. Even though this game is not a Metroidvania, one of our core mechanics is inspired by the ability to manipulate time on Blinx the Time Sweeper. But instead of using sophisticated sweepers and time controls, we have the effects of one powerful element: coffee. Since the early stages of the game, it was decided that Camille's main ability would come from a caffeine rush. We call this the coffee rush. When the player activates the special power through Magia, the little spirit that provides the special abilities, everything around Camille starts to move in slow motion, implying that Camille is moving really fast. This effect is temporary and leaves Magia extremely tired, and you have to search for more coffee to refuel. Abusing the coffee rush can also backfire though, just like when you drink 5 cups of coffee, rendering yourself useless and at the brink of a heart attack. But this is a story for another video. Number 3. Axiom Verge. This extraordinary game has inspired us to really give it some thought on the immense diversity of weapons you can acquire throughout the game. Axiom gives so many options to the players so they can choose the one that fits their playstyle. We once considered giving Camille a sword as the main weapon, but we only have one artist, and we don't want to torture her with complex animations. So we decided to postpone the sword idea for a later version of the game, and for the demo we'll focus on shooting abilities instead. I already laid out a couple of weapons that we're currently developing, so I can't really show them to you right now. But going back to Axiom, one of the things that stood out for me when playing is how creative the mechanics were and how closely related they are to the game's environment. You can glitch your way through solid walls, you can open hidden paths by cleaning corrupted pixels, you can send mini drones to explore hard-to-reach areas, and there's many other examples I could list. The game fully takes advantage of the things you can do when you're inside a surreal computer cyberspace. And so this motivates me to sit down and think, how many mechanics can we possibly come up with for a coffee-related world? Number 2. Ori and the Blind Forest. This one's close to our hearts. The sense of wonder and adventure in Ori is a big influence in Camille's Coffee. The visuals in Ori are truly mesmerizing and really help you immerse yourself in the areas you're exploring. In our game design meetings, we often find ourselves going back to Ori and observing things like camera movement and controls, the combination of darkness and lighthearted scenes, the map layout. There's a lot we're learning from the Ori games. We love the story and the way it interacts with the game, sometimes even making the player part of the cinematics. Some of the Coffee Kingdom's areas in our game are set on natural environments such as tree fields, mountains, rivers, and it is our goal to make the players enjoy their expeditions as much as we enjoyed exploring Ori's map. And finally, number 1. Hollow Knight. Oh boy, I am crazy about this game. Like, seriously. When we first decided to make a Metroidvania, I was extremely excited because, oh my god, we're making something in the style of Hollow Knight, yay! Even though Camille's Coffee is mostly lighthearted, kind of cartoonish, I want to write an engaging story with secret lore and things that the players will have to discover, if they choose to do so. This game is gold in terms of storytelling, and I just love the freedom you have to roam around the areas, noticing new details each time you pass through them. And the way there's details in the scenery that give you hints on the past of Hollow Nest, the way the map is interconnected, that there are multiple ways to end up in one place, it makes your journey very engaging. I would be walking in an area and suddenly pop out somewhere in the green path, that sort of thing. I just love the feeling of being lost and then after a few minutes of stumbling around, finding some relief when you start to see signs of a familiar place. I also love the interactions with the NPCs. All of these details that imply writing a story are the ones that excite me the most, because I absolutely love telling stories. Hollow Knight has taught me a lot from game design to sound effects and music. It is a great game and a huge inspiration. When I was put in charge of Camille's Coffee's game design, it was kind of overwhelming, because I know these games take time and a lot of effort and creativity. But looking up at these masterpieces motivates me to never give up, because they have shown that you can make great games happen and that the Metroidvania genre has a lot to offer. Alright, I'm signing off for now. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe and visit our Ko-fi. We upload weekly blogs about Camille's Coffee's development. We look forward to reading your comments. That's all for now. See you next time.